Hello everybody and welcome back. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. Today, we're going to be discussing Meta in 2023. Now you may have heard how the company is having a rough go right now, being forced to let go 11,000 employees, and their net worth has recently dropped $700 billion. So will 2023 be the death of Meta? Well, that's doubtful, but it could either continue their slump or end up being a great year. There's new hardware and plenty of great games on the way, but they also have new competition and plenty of challenges. So we'll go through all of this and explain how 2023 could either be a great or absolutely horrible year for Meta. Now, there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead to any specific topic, but let's start things off with a little bit of a recap of 2022. Mark Zuckerberg continues to full force push his vision of the metaverse. Tens of billions are being spent quarterly, and both the financial industry and stockholders are beginning to lose faith in this direction. At the same time, Meta is also trying to expand past just gaming, and they released the Quest Pro, which is targeted for enterprise and business. Now, if you were up to date on information, you knew this wouldn't be a consumer product, but it seems many people, including the business sector, were caught off guard and they ridiculed the release of this product. While I personally believe it is a nice step forward, it is definitely much more of a dev kit, and it left people with an overall impression of, you spent how many billions and only got here? Now, stockholders want Meta to push more into their original business and increase revenue through advertising. But Meta completely understands that Facebook has already peaked and they need to move into the next big thing, which Mark Zuckerberg wholeheartedly believes is the metaverse. Unfortunately though, the payoff continues to be 5 to 10 years down the road. And with a recession looming, there's more of a focus on short-term profits. So Meta completely understands this. They were forced to cut some staff, raise the price on the Quest 2, and even cancel some side projects and hardware that they were actively working on. But their focus remains entirely on the metaverse. Now moving into 2023, they face some immediate challenges. Stomping out bugs and quality control for their metaverse application, Horizon Worlds, is a top priority. Because right now, their own employees don't really believe in the application, claiming it's too bug-ridden to really utilize. Company morale will also be an issue after those layoffs, and some Meta employees have even taken to the career website Blind to voice their sentiment that they believe the metaverse will be the slow death of the company. So obviously, Meta is going to need some wins in 2023, and even before the new year begins, hopefully they'll have some pretty decent sales for the Quest 2 during the holiday season. Now, when it comes to software releases, 2023 could be an excellent showing for the Quest 2. I recently detailed what each of Meta's 9 studios is currently working on, and I'll include a link to that if you want to check it out. But the majority of these developers have been quiet for 2 to 3 years now, and we can expect some much larger, higher production value games like Asgard's Wrath 2, Onward 2, possibly a port of Fortnite to Quest 2, and much more. Unfortunately though, this will most likely be a last hurrah year for the Quest 2, as Meta will be releasing the Quest 3. You could expect things to follow a similar pattern like the Quest 1, where sure, we'll get games on the Quest 2 for another year or so, but all the larger development will be planned for the Quest 3, and the Quest 2 will be phasing out in 2024. Now, hardware is where things could go a bit sideways for Meta. With people so recently having purchased the Quest 2, that community is unlikely to purchase another headset. So has the VR gaming market already been saturated, or will Meta be able to bring in additional users with either new hardware use cases like AR, or by making the Quest 3 look like a much better gaming platform, so those who have yet to jump into VR gaming finally make the switch. But at the same time, Meta will be facing new competition. When it comes to AR capabilities and entertainment applications, they're going to be up against Apple's new headset. And when it comes to gaming, they have both the PlayStation VR 2 and the Pico 4 to deal with. While you might not look at either of these as actual competition, unfortunately they will be, as VR is still quite niche, and anyone cutting into it, even a small percentage, can add up. Pico has previously stated that they will be spending heavily to help produce some exclusive content, and since their parent company is ByteDance, they definitely have the money to back this up. Pico is a new player here though, and trailing a bit behind Meta. They're not even in the US market yet, and it appears after what they initially thought was a massive rush for people to get this headset has dried up, and sales are lower than the company expected. They were originally planning to produce 2.5 million headsets, but now they've cut that number back to 1.8. Now, when it comes to the PlayStation VR 2, it's not exactly in the same category as the Quest 2 or even a Quest 3, because it's a tethered experience that still requires a PlayStation 5. So with a starting price of roughly $1,000, this will appeal much more to people who already own the console and shouldn't cut into Quest sales too much, but I do expect that PlayStation VR 2 games will be far superior to Quest titles. So this might not be fantastic for the overall image of Quest VR games, but rather than direct competition, one of their biggest challenges in 2023 will be getting people to buy into the metaverse and accept the fact that it's going to be a few years before it pays off. If they can't stabilize things, stop their stock price from declining, regain some public confidence, and finally stop hemorrhaging money, then yes, it does look like the metaverse can absolutely be the slow death of this company. I'll be honest here, as much as I love XR technologies, believe they will definitely be part of our future, and absolutely know for a fact that they could be powerful tools for both training and entertainment. I just don't know how we get over this initial hurdle and turn something like a Quest 2 gaming device into a mainstream product that everyone wants to use. Part of that is breaking into the business sector, which Meta has already begun the process with the Quest Pro, and partnering with Microsoft. Now in 2023, we'll see if that endeavor is actually paying off, as an existing business sector found an amazing use case for this device, and can it truly increase productivity? For me, that's absolutely yet to be seen, and it feels like Meta is still trying to force this whole metaverse world upon us while we're just not ready yet. It doesn't feel organic, and unlike Apple, I doubt we'll see people lining up at Meta stores waiting to get their hands on new technology anytime soon. So let's just recap how 2023 could either be a great or absolutely terrible year for Meta. It will most likely be the year when we get the best of the best Quest 2 titles, with 9 studios actively working on the Meta for years now, many of which who have previously released excellent games and now have had plenty of time to put something together with a much higher production value. I'm expecting the best titles that we will ever get on the Quest 2. And then later in the year, the era of the Quest 3 will begin. It will be a significant upgrade, allowing for even more robust titles, and it will include additional features. But I'm not sure if it will see the same success of the Quest 2. That device isn't very old yet, so many people won't be looking to upgrade, and the VR gamer market might already be saturated, plus there's new competition coming from Apple, Sony, and Pico. Ultimately, it will be a year for Meta to restore faith to the business sector, finally creating some appeal for their metaverse, and hopefully getting some traction in the enterprise sector. If they could prove a substantial use case with their hardware, that's millions of potential units that can be sold, but I'm still hard pressed to see exactly what that is. A business will tend to buy a product that they will use frequently, not something that's niche or has one use case, so I'm still scratching my head on the Quest Pro, but hopefully something big comes out of it. But if both business and metaverse endeavors fail, Meta will continue its decline throughout 2023, and it will either continue until they find a way to prove themselves or produce a product that completely revitalizes the industry. Now, as much as I personally talk crap about Meta, I do want both them and the VR industry to succeed. I absolutely love this technology, and I use it every single day. Making it more convenient, accessible, and mainstream is something I would love to see, but if they're already failing to convince me, an absolute enthusiast, the road ahead will be very rough. So if 2023 is good for Meta, the Quest 3 will be a huge success, we'll get some amazing new games, the business sector will adopt the hardware, and Horizon Worlds will actually start looking like a good product. But in the worst case scenario, both the games and the hardware will not impress compared to the competition, the business sector finds no use for hardware like the Quest Pro, Horizon Worlds continues to be a joke, and Meta's value continues to plummet. Only time will tell, guys, but I would love to hear what you think down in the comments. Let me know right now. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. And as always, I will see you guys on next time.